Hello, this lesson is about the law of cosines. The law of cosines, similar to the law of sines, work for oblique triangles. Also, you can see that the sides and the opposite angles have the same variable, so they relate. Okay. So the angle opposites has the same letter as the side opposite. Now, when we look at the law of sines, we can see that the lowercase letters are represent side lengths. So I have a side length here and a side length here. And some of you may say, hey, that looks very similar to something that we know. So this part here, yes, is the Pythagorean theorem. However, you can see that there's this extra part. It has minus 2 times A times B times cosine of angle C. Now, a really important part about this is that the angle that you are given is opposite the side that you were looking for. So these two have to be opposite. And it really doesn't matter what variable you're using or looking for. So it really could be angle B, and then this would be A and C. It could be angle D, then there would be side D, as long as these are the opposite. So if I was looking for this side, I would need to be given this angle. If I was looking for this side, I would be given that angle. And then the other two sides are the ones that flank the angle. So this is angle C. You can see A and B flank it. They're on the left side. So if I was given this angle and looking for that side, these two sides would be here, where they flank it. And we'll do an example so you understand that. So you can see when we're doing the law of cosines, you're given two sides, one angle in between the two sides. So this is going to be side angle side. So here's a side, that's the angle, and that's the side. And you'll see it in the example. And then you're looking for another side. So there's 3 sides altogether, including the one that you're looking for, and one angle, which is very different than the law of sines. You can use it to find a side like this, or you can also find an angle, and I'll show you how to do it in a later, couple later examples. So let's find the missing side first. So here's the law of cosines, wrote it up on the right for you for reference. We're going to find BC, which is here. So even though it's labeled A, right, that's going to be the C here. And so this is our angle that we're given, so that's going to be here. And then these are the two sides that are flanking it. So we're going to use A and B for that. Okay, so I'm going to do A squared. And it doesn't matter which one goes. So I could have put 7 squared here and then 5 squared. And then put 7 here and 5 here. Doesn't matter. Cosine of the angle that you are given. There. Now please remember the order of operations. Exponents. So you're going to do this. We're going to multiply this. Then at the end is adding and subtracting. It's really important that you do it in that way. If you try to do 49, like add these two together and then try to subtract 2, that's not going to be right. Or try to subtract 70, it's going to get you the wrong answer. 25, 49, minus. So again, we're going to multiply this whole part. Now, when you round it, we're rounding to the nearest tenth. There. So you can use the whole thing if you're just using calculator. You can use all the decimals. But if you're going to round, you want it to be at least one more decimal place than what you want at the end. So this is a tenth, that's 1 decimal place here. You're going to want this at least 2. or you can do 3 or 4, it just becomes more accurate. Go. Then we're going to add, and then subtract. Going to take the square root. Oops. I forgot to put a number inside my square root. So it is approximately 5.299, which will then round to 5.3. All right, let's do the next one. Now, if you want to try the next one on your own, more power to you. So now we're looking for AC. That's here. This is the angle that we're given, and this is the one we're looking for. So we're looking for B, and these are the two that flank it. Yeah, so I'm doing B squared, 15 squared, 20 squared minus 15 times 20, cosine of 124. Okay, 2 times 15 times 20 times cosine of 124. All right, here's where you need to be careful. So this minus here is this minus here. But when I typed in this, it gave me a negative number. So that's going to be another negative 33552. So yes, there's two negatives. Please note that. I know that. So again, this negative came from here, and this negative came from this whole thing. So we're actually going to be adding these two. Negative and negative is the positive. Okay, so now if you didn't round it and you have a bunch of decimals, your answer is going to be slightly different than mine. In general, that's why we don't like to round, because then there's that a little confusion. All right, so I have approximately 30.99, so that's going to round to 31.0. Okay, so this is how you find a missing side. Now, please note, no, you cannot use the law of sines for here. It's just not going to work, because for a sine, law of sines, you need two sides and one angle looking for another angle. So it's a 2 and 2 thing. Here you don't have that, right? So here's the three sides and an angle in between. Here's where I was talking about you have that side, angle, side. And then you're looking for a side. So you can see there's three sides. Log cosine, along the sines, it'll be two sides or two angles at the end. Given two sides and one angle, looking for another angle. Or two angles and given one side and looking for another side. So very different. Okay, so here, find the missing angle. Now, we're looking for angle C, and it's important that you know that and which one you're looking for. That will really determine where you substitute the numbers. Okay, now it's not always going to be angle C. It could be a different angle, so just be careful about that when you substitute it. Okay, so when you're saying, oh wait, I'm not given a side. How do I know which one's which here? I have the three sides. Which one's A, which one's B, which one's C? Okay, so here, this is C, so this one is the opposite side. So that is here. Remember, these are the ones that are opposite. So that angle that you're looking for, it will determine which side goes here. So you're given three sides, so you're going to use them here, and then you're going to look for the angle. So again, it's 50 because it's the opposite side of the angle that you're looking for. Right, this is going to get a little tricky for some people, so I'm actually going to do it without solving the numbers. And it might be a little strange for you, so I'm going to show you what we do without simplifying right now. So once we have this number, you would subtract this from both sides, right? And you subtract this from both sides. Okay. Then once you get here, if you multiply all of that, then you would get an answer. So then you multiply, or sorry, you'd multiply that, so then you would divide that to the other side. Now we could multiply it out, but I just wanted to show you really what's happening here. So that's what we're doing. So this will become a decimal, and then we'll be able to figure out cosine C. So this is what you need to do. Okay, so I'm going to do it generally the normal way students do, but I wanted to show you what we're doing without thinking about the numbers necessarily. All right, so let's do it with the numbers. So that's 2,500. Similar to when we're looking for a side. You do each of those first. Now this is where people get confused. Remember, like said here, you would subtract these first. Because this is multiplication, so you would have to do that part later to undo. So this is going to be last, and you're going to take this. Okay, so you're going to combine those two. Students often get really confused about here. This is one to show you up above. So here, no, you can't subtract these two. You can't, because this is really what that really is. I'm going to show you on the side is really this. Just making smaller numbers. Right? Cosine C is really just x. So no, I wouldn't subtract these first. I would subtract 27 from both sides and then divide the negative 25. So that's what we're going to do here. So we're going to subtract 27,771. So this is going to get us a negative number here, which is fine. Which is what we're going to want because we're going to have a negative number here. I think I added a number wrong. Oh, I did. Whoops. Oh, I'm so silly. So sorry. I don't know why I did that. I don't know why I added that extra number. Sorry. I know you're probably yelling at me at the computer. You're doing it wrong. Sorry about that. Okay, so I'm just going to change that. But I was able to catch it in the middle. So that's good. All right, so I'm going to take that. All right, so it has to be a decimal here. And the reason why it has to be a decimal, because it's cosine. And cosine has to be between 0 and 1. Now we're going to do, because we're finding an angle, remember we have to do the inverse. So I'm going to use my second button. and I have a rounding to the nearest 10th. So measurement of angle C, I have approximately 83.8 degrees. Okay. So really be careful with the arithmetic and solving for this. There's a lot of places you can make mistakes. So if you want to try this one on your own, you can. All right, so this one, really look at it before you just guess which one you're doing. So it says find the measure of angle F. So this is F here. So that is going to be our C here. This is 6. So this is going to be 6 squared equals 4 squared plus 6 squared. Again, doesn't matter which one is which. And we're looking for angle F. All right. And combine these two. Divide by 48. Okay. I have a bunch of 3s. Okay. Then I'm going to do the inverse. And I have measurement of angle F. It's approximately 70.5 degrees. So this is how you can find a missing side or a missing angle. All right, so let's look at this. Solve the triangle, round to the nearest 10th. So you have to look at it and decide what do you want to do. Okay, so to find the side, so say you want to use the law of sines. You're like, okay, let's use this law of sines. I have this one, oh, this angle here, 35. Well, I need this side. I don't have this side. Well, maybe that's the side I should look for. Well, then I would need this side. I need that angle. Do I have it? No. What about that side? What about that angle? No. This is why we can't use the law of sines. So here, to solve the triangle, I'm going to start with the law of cosine. So again, I see that's a side angle side, right? And you're given 2 sides in between and 1 angle. Perfect for the law of cosines. So I'm going to find side BC first. So using law of cosines, if you haven't memorized it yet, you can look at your notes. Cosine of the angle. So I'm going to do this part first just to simplify things, because we are solving, so I am going to have actually a lot of work written here. Then I'm going to do that part. I'm going to just reuse the whole thing because it's going to just stay on my calculator. Okay. So this then is approximately this. I'm going to take the square root. Oops. I did it again. I forgot to put a number in my square root. All right, and I have x, which is BC, is approximately 234.3 meters. One thing. Okay, now I have to find an angle. And when you do this, yes, you can use the law of cosine, but now you can use the law of sines because you now actually have this pair, right? So you can write it as the ratio of the side to the sine of the angle. So now that you can write that, now you can find the other two angles. All right, so I'm actually going to find this angle just because I feel like angle C. And you could have found angle B if you want. Sine of C. Cross multiplying. Find about this. 0.9792. Okay, angle C turns out to be about 78.3. So using that, I'm now going to find angle B. So I'm going to, that will find me angle B. So 180 minus 35 minus 70.3. Maybe I'll write it this way. Okay, so really this is the same thing as adding these two and subtracting 180. So here's 1, 2, and 3. So solving the triangle, you really have to look and see what you're given, and then be able to figure out if you're using the law of sines or the law of cosines. All right, don't forget to answer the EQ. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.